Hello ladies and gents, you know what time it is, it's Sunday 4 p.m. and we have another fab DKW show for you. On today's show we're talking profile pictures, our social media. Are we really our profile? Does it reflect who we really are, or do we put on an image just to impress? And what happens when your profile picture becomes a little bit too much and starts to affect your physical life? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing on today's DKW show, but we've got more in store for you, so take a look at this vid. Ladies, I'm going to go straight into it. I'm not alone, as you can see. I've got the lovely Priscilla with me. I've got Patricia and I've got Lisa. But ladies, we've been talking profile pictures. I know it's a bit of a funny one today. People are going to be thinking, profile pictures? I mean, how deep is a profile picture? It's something harmless. But ladies, we've done something rather funny today. Our producers have gone on your profile pictures on Facebook and dug up your profile pics just to see who looks like who. So we've got all of them. You know, looking at that, would you say that those profile pictures reflect you? I'm not going to start with myself first. Who wants to go first? Go on, Lisa. Lisa shocked. She's like, oh, no, they didn't. I know they didn't. She didn't just put my profile picture on TV.
It's okay. It's a fabulous picture, so we don't mind. I think it kind of does reflect how I am. I'm kind of like bubbly, quite, you know, out there, so bright colour, cool pose, yeah, that's me.
And you know, you're rather reserved, sitting in the corner like, she just put my profile picture up on national television. Yes, I did. But like, I mean, do you think it's a big deal? Does your profile picture reflect you or not?
I think it does. I'm very on a discreet side, so you don't see me like laughing and all bubbly on my picture. And I had just come out of a photo shoot that day, so I thought I looked amazing. Why not?
And Priscilla?
Oh.
Like,
I think that picture was taken on an event.
Right.
It was a picnic event. That's an old picture, actually.
So would you say that it currently reflects who you are now?
Yeah. I don't know what to say because that picture, I'm just like smiling and like,
Well, you know, the reason why I'm asking is this, because obviously some people are like, these things like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, it's really fake. It doesn't really portray who people really are. It's just a way of people having an alter ego, if they can say. So it's like who they would love to be, but they can't quite be in reality. So seeing as it's your own virtual world almost, you can pretty much make up whatever you want. Do you agree with that statement, or do you just think it's harmless fun?
See, it's kind of like 50-50. I am on both of those sites. And so I do kind of get to see that. And I was saying earlier that there's somebody that's on one of those sites, and on her profile picture, she's like, you know, wow, you know, yeah, you know. But when I see her in person, it's more like, and so I think that sometimes people live out who they want to be on the profile pictures, but in real life, they're not like that. And it's kind of, some people get lost in that world, you know, oh yeah, I've got like 10,000 friends on Facebook, but in person,
they have no friends.
Do you really have them?
Do you know, that is something that I really do want to throw out there. How do you feel when it comes to like likes and friends on social media? Because I have this whole thing, this is my thing now, my new thing. Don't get offended if you send me a friend request and I don't accept it, because I'm the type of person now, if you cannot say hello to me in real life, you are not my friend. I don't know if that happens to you when you have your like Facebook account and you just get these friend requests from people that you see perhaps in passing, or you've only probably seen once in your life and you don't really have a relationship with you, and they send you a friend request. Do you add them on? Do you have a thing about it? Do you have a rule when it comes to adding people to your social media?
It's funny, isn't it? The person adds you, and then she goes liking all your 357 pictures. And when you pass to that person, she's like,
yeah,
what is that?
I find that really weird. But do you just add people on? Do you add people on as your friends, or do you just?
I think it depends on your intention. If you want to keep your profile private, just for your close friends and relatives, then it's one thing. But if you are on Facebook because maybe you want to promote a certain event or you want to promote a certain cause, then you should add as many people as you want, of course. when someone sends me a friend request, normally I tend to go and check our mutual friends.
I do too.
Yeah.
If they're friends with my friends, then yes. But if I have no clue who they are, they have no mutual friends with me, then I just keep them there on standby.
Yeah.
Especially if they're men.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know, before I go into our red card, green card game, do you have something in particular that is a set rule whereby when it comes to male and female relationships, you're careful who you add, or you don't care if it's a guy or a lady, you just add them?
I'm kind of very much like what Patricia said. I will always go to check the mutual friends, and if I don't have anyone, then I won't. Because I've had that before where someone has inboxed me and it's been like, you know, oh, I like your profile picture, and it's like, and I'm like, did you really think that I was going to be like, oh, okay, now you said that, yes. You know, it's like, no, don't, you know, people do use it for, they have ulterior motives for trying to, you know, to get close to you, to see everything, because my page is private and I will check. And if you send me a friend request, it's not necessarily a guarantee that, I'm going to accept it.
And also, can I just add, not to mention that every time you add a friend on Facebook, for example, then it comes on your news feed. And sometimes you don't know that person, and you keep seeing their posts and their pictures. And the more friends you have, the more information, more activity on your news feed you're going to have. So the longer it's going to take you to
get to your real friends,
to get through everything
as well. So then, in that case, ladies, we're going to go back to your own profiles by playing the red card, green card game, and I shall join in. I shall join in on this one. So, red means no, green means yes. So, first things first, are you happy with the way you look? This is on social media. Red for no, green for yes. Okay, good. We all have very positive self-image on DKW. Then I want to flip it to day-to-day real life off, you know, the social media. Do you have good body image? Would you say you look better on social media, or do you think you look better in real life? That's such a mean question.
But then because that's tricky, because I'm sorry.
No, red or green. No, you got to choose. I'm the only one on the fence.
No, I know my angles. So I know that if you're going to take a picture, I'm going to be like...
No, but that's the thing. In real life, there's no angles.
You have to be
you
smiling.
I think we don't, because you only post what you... If you see a picture and you like it, then you post it. If it's not that nice, your right angle, you don't post it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't think.
Okay. And Lisa, are you green or a red? You've got to choose.
I think I'm more or less happy, so I'm going to say yeah.
I'm going to go with Lisa.
Yeah. Okay, then that's good. Fair enough. Do you know what? I salute you, Patricia, because we're both red. Sometimes I do not like what I look like in real life, but it doesn't mean I have any body issues and stuff like that. I do think I'm a rather good-looking girl, but there are times when I'd rather be my profile pic. So I definitely agree with you. Next question: in your opinion, do you think your appearance? Do you think other people's opinions are more important about you than your own opinion on social media? Okay, so everybody said no, so that's good. So next question I have: have you ever felt discriminated because of your physical appearance? Red for no, green for yes.
No.
No?
No. I'm going to side with Lisa. And Lisa, I want to find out, before I say my opinions, what happened with you then?
Well, one that I can remember, this is when I was working in retail, and a lady, so it's a white lady, went through the barriers and the alarm went off. And she took it really badly when the security guard just asked her to come back. And when I was trying to calm her down and make sure she, wasn't anything really bad, she was like, well, maybe you are used to being stopped by security guards. And I mean, in that moment, I had to remember no, I'm a calm woman, I'm a changed woman, and I'm not going to answer back like I wanted to. So, I mean, that's just one example.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been discriminated for your actual beauty or your profile picture or the way you looked on social media?
Well, only people have thought, oh, maybe, she thinks she's too good, or kind of that. And I'm like, well, no. In the past, You know, I used to suffer from you wouldn't think it, low self-esteem, and didn't really think of myself as pretty or nice looking at all. I accepted I was ugly, and that was what I was just going to have to live with.
My goodness,
yeah.
They're completely different Lisa now.
So that's how I was, yeah.
Okay, so then my next question to you ladies then is this. Do you think that the media's representation of male and females for a healthy body image is right? So green card for yes, red card for no. Okay, Patricia's
I'll
like,
agree with that.
tell me, why would you say
obvious.
that? I know you say it's obvious, but there's people that aspire to look, no, seriously, there's people out there that aspire to look like a certain person. Like, you've got people that are, like we always say, having the plastic surgery to look like a certain model or to look like a certain celeb out there. And you've also got people that will even have profile pictures that look like a certain celeb or look like a certain model, or even will not even put a profile picture of themselves up. They'll actually get their favorite celeb or their favorite model and make it their profile picture. So why would you say that?
I think everyone is how they are. I am who I am and the way I am, and I should be happy with who I am. If I'm striving to become someone else, then there's something in me that I need to work on first. I'll never be like someone else. And I know the media nowadays portrays these very slim models and very built men and all that. And that puts people off because they feel insecure, thinking, oh, I don't look good enough, I'm not slim enough, I'm not as built up as I would like to be. And that affects them mentally as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think people should try to look like someone else. Worry too much about what other people are going to think.
Yeah. Last question before we do go to break that I wanted to find out, and I want you ladies to come on dead honest with me. Do you think that happiness stems from the way you physically look, even if it's to a slight degree? Yes for green card, no for red card. Okay, right. So everyone's green. Why would you say that, Priscilla? Why would you say that happiness does stem from the way you look physically to a certain degree?
I agree with Patricia in some parts, because nowadays I think that everyone wants to be happy with who they are. But when we look at the movies, when we see the billboards, the magazines, they have the image that they want to sell to people, and we tend to look at that and think that this is how it should be. So I don't agree with that part that we have to be like that to be happy with our image. But I agree that we have to be happy with our image, like looking in the mirror and being able to, okay, I'm not perfect, but I'm happy with myself, isn't it? Even though I'm not like this, I'm happy. So if I'm happy, I'm happy.
I'm not disagreeing with any of you guys there, but just a question I want to throw out. Would you then say that makes people shallow or vain to a certain degree?
No, I think it depends on the extreme that you put it to. But I mean, it's like, otherwise, why would we go to the gym, Why do you celebrate when you're able to, go down a dress size and things like that? We all do that because you want to feel comfortable, with who you are. It's when that consumes everything, that's the problem. So I'm starving myself so I can fit into this image of how people are, or, or I've got to do these squats to make my booty a bit bigger so I can be as people want. That's the problem.
Well, we're going to discuss this in more depth after the break, where we're going to have James Lamper, who's going to be talking eating disorders with us when your vanity becomes a little bit too much to handle. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss this.
Forgiving the person who betrayed you can be tough, and it can almost always leave a scar. The scar that remains from an abusive past can affect your future in so many ways. There are various forms of abuse, the seen and the unseen. We understand your pain because we have been through it ourselves. If you or someone you know is a victim of any form of abuse, help is available. Rehab, removing all hurt and abuse. We won't pretend it never happened, but our aim is to help you heal the wounds of the past so that you can build a happy future. We'll listen, we'll advise, we'll be your shoulder to cry on. It's free, confidential, and we're just a phone call away. For more information, call 0207 686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
Hi and welcome back to today's DKW show. We're talking about our profile pictures and leading on to a more serious matter, our body image. When does it become a little bit too much? Well, we've got James Lamper from Weight Matters Practice. You're the director of it.
I am indeed, yes.
It's lovely to have you here on the show, James. Tell us a bit more about the work that you do and what is Weight Matters?
Okay, so the Weight Matters Practice is an organisation. We support people that struggle with food, eating, weight and body issues. So with extreme eating disorders on maybe the lower end of anorexia, bulimia, all the way through the spectrum to people that are morbidly obese, that suffer with binge eating disorder, and then anything in between, so orthorexia, night eating syndrome, or people that just generally get a bit stuck with their eating behaviour and habits. They just want to lose a bit of weight and feel good about themselves.
Right, you mentioned so many things out there. I didn't even know some of these syndromes existed. Night eating syndrome, what is that?
Okay, so this is where people, they actually wake up in the middle of the night and then they feel so driven to want to eat. So that may happen several times in the night. And it's really interesting the way it balances out, because then of course they don't eat during the day because they feel so bad about how much they've eaten at night.
Wow.
And of course it sets up and they get stuck in this cycle.
Goodness, I mean, I didn't even know that existed. For example, with this night eating syndrome, how does it affect one's body image then?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're waking up in the morning and you're feeling full up, and it's going to be a sense because you will be feeling a bit more full up, but it's the psychological side of it, because you're feeling bad about yourself, you feel like a failure, your self-worth has plummeted, and if you're already sensitive about your body image, it's just going to be heightened. So therefore you go into the next day kind of wanting to cover yourself up, or attempting to compensate by over-exercising or starving yourself.
Gosh. I mean, you mentioned something that's more topical, people are more aware of, like, for example, binge eating and anorexia. Do they have the same psychological issues, or are they two completely distinct, different things?
That's a really good question. There are some things that are very similar for both categories. So one would be wanting to find a way of coping with our emotions, or just coping with a stressful lifestyle. With anorexia, you might get things which are much more particular, which is a need to have some sense of control or heightened perfectionism. So different eating disorders might have different sort of identities as well as similarities.
So how would you be able to tell if a friend had suffered from something like anorexia? What would be like the clear telltale signs?
Well, there are quite a lot of clues and signs to look out for. One would be kind of an extreme dieting sort of profile. So really cutting out sugar, cutting out fats, or maybe whole food groups. They might get their thinking would change. So they might talk a lot more about calories or weight loss, or they might get more anxiety about certain food groups. You want to look out for maybe social withdrawal. So people tend to isolate themselves a lot more because they're feeling very conscious about their body image. And I suppose the other one to look out for is over-exercising. So when you notice someone starts to exercise a lot more, or get very anxious if they can't go for a run or go to the gym, all of these signs and symptoms, just be aware of them, because that might be the start of somebody shifting into an eating disorder.
Wow. I mean, you mentioned binge eating and emotional eating, and that's one that does weigh heavy on the heart, because I used to formerly binge eat a lot, and it was more of an emotional thing, because it made me feel good. Do you think that it's been heightened a lot with children now these days, where they're associating like certain food groups with happiness, like i.e. they go to a fast food restaurant, and then I've seen it with this particular brand, which I will not mention on television, when children seem to go past them, they just go wild. I mean, how do we teach our kids to educate themselves from, eating healthily and it making you feel good?
Well, that's a story that you and I both share, because when I was a little boy, I was a binge eater too.
Right.
And if you think about it, the way that children grow up, they don't have the cognitive abilities that we have as adults. When a kid feels bad, they just feel horrible inside.
Right.
And the one thing that they've learned how to do from a very early age is when they put something sweet inside their mouth, they feel good.
That's very
because
good
they
point,
get
yeah.
chemicals in their brain. So from the very moment we're born, we had that association that food makes me feel good. When they start to then go to kids' parties or go to fast food outlets, it just gets reinforced. So it's really easy for kids to kind of fall into an emotional eating trap. What's
Yeah.
missing is the fact that we're not educating kids how to deal with their emotional self.
Right. And what tips could you give on that?
What for parents do you know what I think is really important is just taking the time to sit down with your kids. Just listen, play with them, but ask them how they're doing. Ask them how their day was at school. If one of your kids comes up to you and they're kind of worried about a bully at school or something's happened, even if you're busy, crazy busy, and we all get busy, slow down, sit down, and take the time to listen to what your kid has to say, because then you're giving them the message, it's okay to feel your feelings.
Right.
And you also teach them how to soothe themselves without food.
Yeah. Very, very good point. Sorry, I was hogging him there with that particular question, because it does affect a lot of children, and I think children do need to be educated from a young age on how to eat so that they avoid such disorders and so on. But sorry, Priscilla, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, why is meal support important? Why is meal support important?
Okay, so if we're looking at people with something like anorexia, so there is a huge fear and anxiety about eating, about weight gain. So every mouthful is a battle for them. So being able to sit down with somebody that's struggling with anorexia is a big ask for a parent or a carer. So to actually sit down with them, I suggest that you really plan things in advance. You might need to find foods that they feel safe, and then just sit down with them. And if they're feeling anxious, just nurture and reassure and calm them down that they can eat the food and it's going to be okay. A lot of people with anorexia or restrictive eating disorders otherwise would lie, they would manipulate, or they would just pretend to eat and actually throw the food away. So especially with anorexia, because it is the biggest mental illness killer.
Really?
Yeah. It is the biggest mental illness killer. So people starve themselves to death. And it's so sad that today that this is still happening.
Yeah.
So obviously this has a massive effect, not just on the person suffering, but the family and friends. So like kind of how does this like affect them, or what, from your experience, what have you seen, and what can they do to, I guess, not blame themselves, because I know that can happen with some parents.
And many people would go through that sense of blame. What have I done wrong? And that's a good time to actually go and find some support. Go to a service like Weight Matters, somewhere else, where you can just vent and talk things through and educate yourself about the illness.
Right.
So then you can actually go back to the person you care about and love and actually take the time to help them through what's going on. Because again, anorexia is a type of condition which demands attention. Right. It's a very manipulative disorder which is saying, I'm ill, give me attention. So suddenly the whole family has to sort of, focus in on the person that's sick. Yeah. That can cause a rift between parents. So it's really important to have a united voice. With siblings, they're going to get really frustrated. Yeah. What about me? And if we're friends that have, our friend is the one that has an eating disorder, we might get really annoyed or frustrated if they keep cancelling on social situations. Or again, they might become really needy on our time. Right. So eating disorders really does affect people and families.
Because on the outset, we just tend to think about, it's the person that's just not eating.
Yeah, they're just not
eating.
And
if it's the bulimia, they're just going to throw it up. And, people, they're forgetting about the deeper issues and the deeper side of it. So.
One thing I did want to ask, we're talking about social media and how it affects our body image. Do you think this plays a heavy part on some of these disorders, and if so, how?
Absolutely. I think now that we're the kids are growing up much more into a technological social media world. The messages out there traditionally have been much more around size 0, being focused, being slim. Being beautiful means that you're going to be successful. Being thin means you're going to have, more attention, better boyfriend. But those messages are starting to change. There are more and more campaigns out there. I know that Dove have supported one that was on the news this morning about being the best self that we can be.
The whole real woman.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just for women, of course, it's for men as well. Yeah. And it really is affecting, eating disorders affects young men and their body image. So I think
that's coming to the fore now, isn't it? About that it is young men. Have you noticed that people are approaching your clinic?
So coming to the practice, I would say that younger men, that's definitely in the increase. There's such a, to be the jock, to be the sporty guy, to have the muscles. And if you don't have that, it makes you feel inside that you're worthless as a man. So it's really important not just to look at the messages for women, but also for men as well.
I know this might sound like a weird question. Do you think it affects men more, or do you think it affects women more? Or would you say that women are more prone or more accepting of the illness per se, and they're able to get over it more than men? Because one would think men have an ego, or I'm a man, I don't have a problem, or so on. Do you think men are now opening up? Who deals with it better, if I could say?
It's a complicated question, so I'll try and give you the best answer I can. I think it goes down to the way that the brain is wired. So men and women are wired differently in the brain. Right. Women tend to be much more in tune to their emotional side and the sensitivity of themselves. Right. So therefore they might be more susceptible to comments or to things they see in the media, and they might hold on to things more. But being able to obviously work through that's important for women and for men as well. They need to be able to speak up. But there's more, I suppose, stigma about men speaking up and being emotional. Yeah. So therefore it becomes harder for men to really, come forwards and sort of say, look, I've got a problem, I've got a struggle, which is a real shame in society today.
Yeah. It's probably positive that it's Freddie Flintoff recently came forward to say that he suffered from an eating disorder. So it's things like that that bring it to celebrity, bring it to the fore.
Absolutely, and I think more and more if the celebrities can stand up and say, look, I had this, I've had an eating disorder, and there is no shame about having an eating disorder. It is a way of coping with life. For whatever reason, things have got a little bit crazy, chaotic, jumbled, overwhelming, and we do something naturally to try and cope. And manipulating the way that we eat is something that we do every day. So it makes sense in a way that we kind of turn to food as a way of coping with life. There is no shame in having an eating disorder.
One final thing that I wanted you to say, because we're just about to wrap up to go to the break. I know these disorders are all very different and there are perhaps different ways of treating them, but overall, if there's someone out there who's watching who has a disorder or think they might have a disorder, what one tip would you tell them?
Well, I think if you're concerned, if that you personally have yourself,
or someone even,
or that somebody has, is talking to somebody that you care about.
Right.
It's really important that you can find somebody that you trust and that will love you and listen to you and speak up. And I'm just going to do a quick little plug as well, because on our website we have interactive tools that really help people identify the signs and symptoms of eating distress. So weightmatters.co.uk. And they'll also find that we have the Rebalance event November the 15th, which is for people that struggle with chaotic eating, obsessive thoughts about food and eating, binging or purging behaviour. So that's a workshop that people can come to.
Right.
Okay, so there's lots of real strong advice out there, and I really hope that people can get the help that they need. Talk to somebody that cares and loves them.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, James, for coming on. It was a pleasure, and it was absolutely great learning about all of these different disorders and so on. It just shows how ignorant sometimes we could be, because usually people just know about being bulimic or anorexic, but it's just so broad and there's a lot out there. There's a lot. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And stay tuned. You don't want to miss this one after the break. We're going to be showing what happened at London Fashion Week with our Lisa Bradnock.
When you hold me like this, that's when
Hi, welcome to the show. We've been talking about our profile pictures. But before we delve back into the topic, our lovely Lisa was at London Fashion Week. Lisa, that must have been fab, or quite an experience, I would say.
It was, I felt right at home, like I was right amongst where I was supposed to be. You know what I mean?
A top fashionista. Well, it looks like he had a little bit of a giggle. Let's have a look and take a look at the video and see what took place.
Hi, I'm here at Danish Wekil's Egyptian-inspired fashion show. I'm just getting ready to interview him and I can't wait to find out all about his inspirations for this show. So what inspired you to be a designer in the first place?
I never intended to become a designer. It is one of the most beautiful accidents or incidents of my life. All my life, I studied to be a commercial pilot. That was my childhood passion, to be a commercial pilot. And I did my first degree in aviation technology from City University in London. The next thing I knew, I was walking around for London Fashion Weeks, in the clothes shows in Birmingham, and all over the UK, in Dubai, I've done shows. Then I enrolled myself on another degree in London College of Fashion. Did my second BA in fashion design, and then specialised at an MA in menswear.
How do you go about choosing that person?
We do sort of take a lot of pride in selecting models which comes from all walks of life. All nationalities are sort of staged on the runways, all cultures, a good mix of a blend of cultures. And yes, the main theme sort of is the main umbrella, and that kind of overshadows everything. But you will see today on the runway, you've got cultures from all the really cultures, from blacks to Asians to whites to Europeans to Canadians. So it's a good blend of models you'll see on the runway today.
So if there was somebody who wanted to do what you're doing, to make their passion then into their lifestyle, what would you suggest? How would they go about it? The only thing I would like to do, be it plumbing, be it a cobbler's job, be it a banker, be it corporate, whatever you want to do, you must have an unwavering perseverance towards it, the dedication for it. And it hasn't been an easy voyage for me. The journey has been quite challenging. It was a tempestuous roller coaster ride. I've had some really high highs in my fashion career and some good lows as well. So I've had my fair share of, obviously lows in terms of that you're working around the clock. So you miss out on your family. I don't get to see my parents very much, my brothers, my cousins very much. And I grew up in an atmosphere where I come from a very close-knit family, and it's a very more academic-oriented family, and they're busy with their own lives. But because I live here and I have to travel all over because of my work, so that's one of the flip side, as I would like to put it.
You're the designer for the collection Miss Boss that we just saw today, and I have to say I loved it. It was so elegant, and the colours, it was so bright, it was so bold. What inspired you to put today's collection?
I mean, it's called Rainbow. So actually, it's my son. My son inspired me to actually name that collection that way, because it's actually my second catwalk here in the UK. and my first catwalk was at the African Fashion Week 2014, and then I was there alone as a single model. I had to bring my son and everything, so I was alone with him. And after that, I was like, "Darling, do you think we're gonna do this again?" He said, "Yes, mommy, you should do more of this, and you're gonna have a beautiful dress with a lot of color, and we'll call it Rainbow."
With this, my collection, when you see it with the pictures, is very much, I would say, 60s Soho meets 60s Lagos sort of thing. So it's very sort of African prints mixed with very refined and very defined European cuts.
Do you think that what someone wears can portray some of their personality?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, times are changing now, especially with men. Men are becoming more metrosexual, so they're looking after their images a little bit more, especially with some of the guys on the catwalk, with the makeup's changing, guy liner that's now in. So yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It just shows whether you're a versatile person, how you concoct an outfit together.
It's like anything. It's, even with art, with music, it's pure emotion. It's you coming into a form. So for music, it's sound. For fashion, it's through the cloth. So I think, absolutely, what someone wears can define who they are.
I think somebody's clothes is their identity. I think that people can have different identities with their clothing as well.
Of course. What you wear in the morning makes people more happy.
There are people out there that they call it fashionista. Yeah. There are some who follows fashion, and there are some who are really making an impression with what they wear.
I can tell because when a person's feeling, quite sort of vibrant and stuff, they wear, bright colours, and you can tell about the way their outlook in life.
Someone who doesn't feel that they can wear anything can always accessorise to have that little quirkiness about themselves that stands them aside and makes them feel good. I think that's what fashion's all about. It's about making yourself feel good. You step out and you feel great because you look good and you know you look good, and you've got either a special piece on, you've got a special pair of shoes on, even just walking out with a great handbag.
There used to be a time when we used to hide behind a lot of things that we used to wear. We used to do it because we were frightened of what people thought, but now I think, especially in not just London now, Birmingham and Leeds and more metropolitan cities now, it's people are dressing how they want to dress.
Wow, that looked quite interesting there. I mean, Lisa, what was it like being at London Fashion Week then?
Well, I wish I'd gotten to see, obviously, a lot more, but going back to our topic, it's another way in which people can express themselves. So, that's what the designers are all doing. They're putting, their own take on what makes them happy, isn't it? And wanting people to live that out as well. I think that for us ladies especially, your outfit doesn't feel finished for me if it's not in a heel. So it's how we express ourselves and not to be, I think the one lesson you can learn is about not conforming to just what the media says, because different designers express themselves in different ways. They're not just, okay, that's that hat, that's that, so it's the same with us. We have to wear what expresses ourselves in the right way to make us feel happy.
Yeah, definitely. Going a little bit back to what James was saying when he was back here about eating disorders and how it affects your body image. Do you think that people start to get affected by their profiles after a while, to the point where they get a distorted body image or even an image overall of how they should be, ladies? Like, for example, earlier on during the break, we were having a little bit of an argument over certain apps that retouches you when you take pictures. And Lisa and I were having a big debate about it. I mean, for example, do you think someone who uses these beauty apps that do retouching on your face or retouching on your body, for example, do you think those type of apps are wrong and can give people a distorted body image? I know Lisa's like, she's got it on the tip of her tongue, she's bursting.
I'll leave Lisa for last. I think that it's okay to use it as long as you use it with moderation.
Right.
Of course, if you're gonna do a retouch on your face, for example, you're not gonna make yourself look like you're so stretchy and no wrinkles, no nothing. But I wouldn't go to the extreme of retouching my body shape,
right,
making me look so slim or making me look a different way.
Yeah, curvaceous or
because what's the point? People see me every day anyway.
But wouldn't you say that such apps, they just help people to have a little bit of fun with the way they look, or help people to even push themselves to look even better?
I think that, see, I'm not saying, okay, burn the beauty apps, okay?
Yeah, you almost was during the break.
What I am saying is that I just don't see the point in certain apps, and everyone just looks so retouched. And I'm like, but I know you don't look like that. And it's, I am all for, you know, doing what makes you feel good. But it's like, for me personally, I don't want it to be when someone comes to meet me, they're like, you're Lisa. But, okay, this looks like you on Instagram. This is you know, I want them to see it and know it's me, and not be shocked that, oh, I do actually have, you know, a few spots, or, you know, a few like laughter lines or what have you. You know, it's me. If, you know,
well, you know, Priscilla, I don't mean to expose you. You and I sometimes use some of these apps. What do you think about these apps? Do you think that they're just harmless fun, or do you think it really can have a strong effect on the way you look at yourself or the way you see yourself?
Depends on how you're gonna use the apps, isn't it? Because if you're gonna use the apps to retouch your whole face, then I don't agree, because like Lisa said, unless the person retouches their whole face and never leaves home, isn't it? But for me, I use it because I like taking pictures. Right. So I see the lighting, and if I don't like the lighting, I don't like the whole picture. So I use these apps to retouch the lighting, or just like that, because if I'm gonna retouch everything, like Lisa said, people will see and
it could be, you know, they could think, like, on your profile picture, they might think, oh, you're 30, and when you meet them, more like 55.
Or then you don't understand why people keep on adding you. When they pass by you, they don't say hi. Maybe they don't recognize you.
Too much beauty.
Too many beauty. It's so true. Do you know what? We're going to have to go to a break. They're saying we need to go to a break. But just before I go to the break, I want to ask you ladies this question. So when does it become a little bit too much? When do you think people are taking the whole profile pic and even their whole body image on social media too much? I mean, we did speak a little bit about eating disorders, and that's one way it affects people. So I want to know, after the break, when does it become a bit too much, actually? So stay tuned and let me know after the break.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee, and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Hello, we're back with another DKW show. We're talking about your profile picture. Are you really your profile? And when does body image become a little bit too much? And we were discussing this. I mean, ladies, where do you draw the line? We talked about beauty apps and so on, how to use them, how not to use them. But are there other lines that people need to draw? For example, I have a friend who will not allow you to take a picture of her unless it's from a certain angle. She will not post pictures unless it's from a certain angle. And then sometimes when we're at social events and stuff like that, it becomes a little bit too much. It's like, right, I'm not taking a picture with you because I know that you're going to make me stand in a certain way and you want the picture to be taken from a certain angle. And then it's like, okay, I'm having a little bit of a giggle about it now, but then it must mean what's wrong with the other angles? You know, what is the problem? And it goes a little bit deeper. You know, everybody, there's times when you have a good angle and a bad angle. There's times, I'm going to be honest, when I've looked at some of my photos and been like, oh, I look a little bit bigger. No, I'm not that big. But, you know, those kind of things. But when you're so, like, restrictive. It even affects your social life and the way that you interact with other people. So where do you draw the lines, and where have people crossed that line, if I could say?
Can I answer that?
Go on.
In my opinion, I think when someone is like that, to an extreme of not letting other people take photos of themselves or post any photos of themselves before they see it first, and they want to make sure they look nice, and it's because they want to prove the way they look, and the same way they do that to themselves, they look at other people like that. That's the way. If I look at your picture and I think you don't look good on your pictures, then of course I'm going to be extra careful on my own pictures, and it's something that will affect the person because it comes from the inside. The person is insecure, is not comfortable with who they are. But then again, if you are just taking photos just for fun, it's okay if maybe you have your eyes closed on that photo, or maybe you are looking elsewhere. It's fun because people see you every day.
But then wouldn't you say that some people might argue that, well, I want to make sure I'm represented at my best at all times? And if I'm even caught off guard, it's like I have to be caught off guard at my best. So it's like, taking that picture and perhaps you were talking, so, they don't want to look like, I don't know, with their eyes squinting, their tongue half out, and they're all there like, it just looks, for them, it might look unattractive, and they might think, oh, I don't want you to post that picture of me because I'm just going to look silly, and, maybe I have a certain image to uphold, and if I have that wrong picture, it might make me look funny. Would you not think that's why they could want the picture like that?
Yes, but not to an extreme.
Yeah.
I think that's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us, wants a horrible picture of us, where it's caught you wrong and you're all like, it's like, that happens to all of us. But it's when it stops you from enjoying yourself, enjoying life, enjoying friends, that you won't let someone take a picture of you, a fun picture with friends, because you need to be like the third from the left with your head tilted 90 degrees. Then it does go into insecurities. There are some people that won't let themselves be photographed standing up because they think they're too fat. So it always has to be something in front of them, or they're sat down with everyone else, or they can't be next to a certain person because they're bigger than them, so it's going to make them look even bigger, and these are all things where that's where it gets too extreme. You have to really look at yourself. Why am I like this? It becomes more than just a bad picture, a bad angle. It's you yourself, because then I can take a picture in front of the most, like, as we went back to beauty apps, I can put whatever filter you want, but if you're not happy with yourself, there's nothing I can do to make you like that picture of yourself.
I mean, a question that I want to throw out there, do you think people then, and it's not even necessarily about them looking at the profile picture and thinking, you know what, I look gorgeous, let me put a filter on it because I want to look even more gorgeous, or vice versa? Do you think now it's more about people? When they're posting that picture, maybe they're posting it because they want to get so many likes, or they want to get that kind of approval, or they want people to find that they're attractive. Do you think it's more of a people thing, or do you think, no, it's genuinely about themselves and wanting to post a picture for their own vanity's sake?
No, I think there is the element of likes. People, sometimes you do, sorry, I have done it. You've posted a picture up, and then it's like, if you don't get any notifications after an hour, you'd be like, but I've got like 400 friends. Like, one person didn't like it. That's just a natural thing because you're putting that picture up. But there are some people who, if they don't have enough likes, then they're striving for it. And there can be that pressure as well. I remember not so long ago, there was a girl, she was a teenager, and she'd wanted to emulate her idol Rihanna, and wore an outfit similar to what Rihanna wore to her prom. And then, but it, obviously she was a young girl, it was the prom, so it didn't quite turn out the way that it was supposed to.
Right.
And it would have gone by the by, apart from somebody tagged Rihanna in the picture. So then Rihanna did a split pic of her and this girl, and basically was like saying, almost like, oh, what a silly girl. That then went viral. Like about 17,000 people saw that. And, this poor girl who was trying to do something, and make herself feel good. And then 17,000 plus people saw it and were then taking the mick because somebody else posted it. So that can then have an effect on that girl. She was anonymous, just going about her life, but now so many people around the world know her because of that one thing. That could have a detrimental effect on her confidence.
Yeah, I mean, because we're coming up to the end of the show, I wanted to find out, what would be your own tips on improving your body image? Because let's say you've got someone who's watching the show now and they've been like, okay, I understand that perhaps I've been taking this whole profile picture thing a little bit too far, or this social media thing a bit too far. I don't think I'm attractive in real life, so I want to make myself as attractive as possible. So when people see me out there, I will get that attention, that need, or that appreciation that I don't quite get in real life. What would you say to them? Have you even struggled with your body image before? And what did you do to improve it? I know you're all smiling, and I know, but I know it's a bit of an intrusive question. But like, but have you ever struggled with your body image, and what have you done to improve it?
I used to be the ones that didn't want people to take picture of me.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little bit young. I didn't know exactly what I liked. So maybe there is this factor, isn't it? That the person doesn't know exactly what she likes or doesn't know her style. She didn't find herself yet. So if you find yourself, if you have to focus on the thing that you have that is nice, isn't it? Don't focus on the thing that you think, oh, I don't like this. Work on it and try to find yourself, and then you will be happy with yourself.
Yeah. Another thing as well, you mentioned being young, and I think that's something that's very important, especially with a lot of young people, because they use social media the most. I think when you're young, you can't take things too seriously because you're still growing. So if you don't have a certain body shape, if you don't look a certain way, you shouldn't beat yourself up too much. I think you should allow yourself to grow up and develop and find yourself. And even then, if you are grown and you're saying, look, Jen, I'm in my mid-40s now, there's no way I'm gonna grow into something else, or maybe I am growing into something else because I've hit a different stage in my life. Learn to appreciate the good things and invest in them, I would say as well. And also, when it comes to your profile pic, remember, who are you sharing that profile pic with? That's one thing I would say. I mean, ladies, would you say anything else concerning that?
I just wanted to say that we all have different opinions, and everybody has different opinions about us. And the way I see myself is not the way you see me.
Right.
And I might look at your profile picture and think, oh, she's, well, if you've posted it, I'm sure you thought it was nice. But I might look at it and think, oh, actually, she doesn't look so good in this angle. But it's your opinion that matters. It's not other people's opinions about you. And sometimes the way you were brought up, the way you've grown up, your values, your standards make a difference as well. So don't worry too much about what other people are going to think about your profile, as long as you are happy with it and you posted it for a reason, as long as your intentions were right, then go for it.
I think naturally we all want to be accepted. You know, we all want to be understood, and unfortunately along the way sometimes people try to conform to what society rubber stamps as this is how you should be. And everyone has to really, and we know it's a cliche, but everybody's different and everybody is individual. There isn't another one of you. So you have to be the best you that you can be. Whether that's a bit quirky, you know, whether that's a bit on the curvier side, whether that's a bit on the slim side, it doesn't matter, because it's not everybody's opinion that what we need to shape us. You know, it's about us having the confidence for yourself. You don't need 20,000 people to tell you that you're beautiful. You need to believe it, and then you only need a few other handful of people that will reinforce that to you, be that your significant other, your parents, whoever else. But it doesn't matter about them first of all. It's you and you alone. So stop doing it for likes, you know. And from somebody, as I said earlier, who suffered from low self-esteem, I can honestly say I know the difference between when I was doing it for other people and when the confidence is from within.
That's it. And you know, one thing I would like to say, if you've heard everything on today's show and you want some more help, like Lisa was saying, getting those others to like you, we would definitely like you and would want to help. So send your comments to comments@DKW.me, and we'll be more than happy to meet up with you and also get you in touch with some people that can help you boost your body image. Ladies, we've come to the end of the show now. It went so quickly. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's been absolutely fab being with you guys today on DKW. Have a great Sunday and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.